Welcome back to Wealthy Mentor Trading, guys. Today's May the 1st, 2022, and today I'm going to be looking at the S&P 500, where we left off last week, and what are my targets going into next week. I'm also going to be taking a look at 4 stocks that are on my watch list. All 4 names are reporting earnings. Names like AMD, Moderna, Shopify, and Dash, all significant for me going into next week. With that being said, before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you are interested in trading with us on our Discord channel, Wealthy Mentor Trading, we do have a 2-month $99 promo going on right now. So if you are interested into day trading, options trading, swing trading, call outs, and analyst upgrades, analysis, and the whole 9 yards, we do have that. So click the link in the description. That should take you out to the checkout page to join us at Wealthy Mentor Trading on our Discord channel. That being said, as I mentioned, we do have the S&P 500 chart on the screen right here. And as you guys can see here, we are on the daily chart. And what I was looking for was a break above that $4,300 line. Unfortunately, we did not get that, and it acted as clear resistance, as we did have one rejection right here and another one right here on Thursday, before on Friday completely flushing down to that 41.15 area, which is a bearish signal, right? So we did break below this low right here that was set back on March and closing at the very bottom. So again, guys, this dead cat bounce completely has played out right now, and what I'm looking for going into next week is a continuation pattern downwards. Unfortunately, not many bulls want to hear that, but that's what the chart looks like. So my targets are that 41.15 area, right? So if we can't break that, we can pretty much see ourselves going down to 40.56 and 39.85, which has been the low this year. So if I'm going to switch over here to the weekly chart, you guys could see a bigger picture of where I'm looking at and where we could potentially be heading in the next month or so. And as you guys can see, we are on the weekly chart, and I'm going to zoom in here, right? So again, we could pretty much be testing these areas right here back on May the 17th, 2021, as we did wick down here twice, back-to-back weeks before buyers stepped in at 40.56 right here, right? So again, if we cannot hold that 41.15 area, we are going to be testing these lows back on May 2021. And if we can't hold that, the next area is that 39.85, which is significant to me because it was the breakout point to create all these, the big push to all-time highs. It was the whole COVID boom. And you know what? Right now, we are going back to the means, and it is in a bearish posture. So again, look at that 41.15 area as that key area of support. If that cannot hold, guys, it could be a free fall all the way down to that 4,039.85 zone, as I mentioned. Now, to the upside, what do you want to see? Well, to me, the first thing is we got to get above 4,200, right? So that was the bounce point here. As you guys can see here, we did wick down, but it did close above 4,200 on these weeks right here, back on March the 7th and the 14th. So the first thing I want to see is a close above 4,200 to start off the week, and then progress from there all the way to that $4,300 line, where we did get that rejection on multiple days last week. So to me, to the bull side, one thing, 4,200 and 4,300, those two things got to be crossed, and I do want to stay above 4,300 on the weekly candle. I want to see a close on that for me to feel confident to say that the bulls have stepped in and are ready to create that trend change away from this bearish outlook that we have here. All right, guys. So with that being said, I am going to jump into the watch list, and the first name that I want to discuss is AMD. So AMD on the weekly chart, and as you guys can see, much like the names, we have resorted back to the means, right? We had that big pop at 164, and that area of $100 was breached, right? That was that psychological point where I did mention it was a good buying opportunity. Unfortunately, the tech sector, along with the semiconductor sector, has pulled back the hardest, and AMD has, taken the bullet, I should say, right? So here we are at that 84.50 area as clear support. As you guys can see here, it was previous resistance last year around, I would say, September, and once more here on April 2021. So again, this was an area where it was clear resistance on September 2020 and 2021. And here we are to the downside acting as support. So 84.50 is a clear support sign, right? And if we do break that and the way things are looking right now, we could potentially drop on an earnings bomb down to that $72 area, which again, it has been clear support back on September 2020 and a nice bounce point here on May 2021. So to me, all signs point to a continued move lower, and we have been down 45% year to date. So that is bearish. Another thing is that we did slice through that $100 psychological support. Again, another bearish signal. And AMD's earnings have topped Wall Street's estimates over the past 7 quarterly reports, which has been great. Yet the shares only have closed higher on the next day 3 of those times. So again, guys, we could get a bullish sentiment outlook on their earnings. However, the way the chart's looking right now and the overall market outlook, we still might pull back, right? So if you look at the earnings that we recently had, such as Apple, Amazon, even Tesla, when they did beat, eventually, just from the market weakness, the tech sector weakness, the semiconductor weakness, and the downgrades that we've been having, it is gonna fall down, right? So 84.50 is that line for me, and I am looking for a break of that for an earnings bomb all the way down to that $72 area, which I did mention is clear support. We also have the breakout point, right, at that $60 area where we did create this big boom on the whole COVID push up. So again, $72, if that can't hold, which is clear support right here and strong support, we are looking at the breakout area at 60 bucks. So target number 1 is 72 if you are buying puts, and target number 2 is $60. So number 1, 72, and number 2, 60 bucks on AMD. And my outlook is I am bearish and I am looking for a continuation pattern down towards this $72 area. All right. Next name that is significant to me and is reporting earnings on Wednesday, and that's Moderna, mRNA. And again, much like the other names, Moderna has been trending lower, and we are at a point where we could push even lower than this, right? So let me just scroll up here. And as you guys can see here, we did have this clear support at that 138 area, and we closed lower on Friday at 134. So what I'm looking at is a continuation pattern downwards, just like AMD, right? So we do have this clear support area left back on March, and it was that 122 to 117 zone. And pretty much I am looking at that on an earnings bomb, right? You know, Moderna did have that big spike up due to the whole COVID vaccine, and they were providing the support. And every time there was news regarding COVID, it would pop. And right now, the sentiment is just not there anymore. And much of that push down has been a result of the market weakness, and also its president, Stephen Hoge, has unloaded 20,000 shares of the company's stock just this past week alone. And that is a lot of selling pressure, right? So you have selling pressure from the president, and you have selling pressure from the market, and much of the tech names, healthcare sector, semiconductor sector have all pulled back, and it has created a recipe for disaster, especially on Moderna. So breaking 138, 137 was that key level for me. I did mention at Wealthy Mentor Trading, I was shorting the stock, and I am still in my shorts at that $177 area. As you guys can see here, we did have a hard time breaking 177 to 188, multiple rejections, and you know, I can just put the pieces together. Much of the names have been resorting back to the means, and Moderna is nothing special. So I am looking at that 122 to 117 area for my take profit targets. And if we slice through that, I do have that 103 area where we did get a pullback here back on December 2020 before ultimately catapulting us to that 188 rejection area, which coincides with the most recent rejection area and hard time back on April 2022. So again, I am looking at a 122 as my target number 1. Target number 2 is 117 and 103, this point right here. as my target number 3, right? So again, bearish on Moderna. I am looking for a push down, and much like the other names, we're going down. Okay, another name that is reporting earnings on Thursday, and that's Shopify. And this chart definitely looks ugly. And here we are, Shop, right? Big move right here. We were at 1762, $1,700 stock, and here we are at that $400 area. And this one has gotten ugly real fast, right? So we are at an area of 400 bucks, and that is clear support. It was an area where it was resistance back on August 2019, and it was an area where we dropped during the whole COVID pandemic down on March 2020, right? So a break of $400 which is what I'm looking at for a push down to retrace the whole move upwards down to $300, right? So that was the area where we bounced during the whole COVID pandemic, and I am looking for a push down there once again, right? I want to see if bulls do step in. $400 is a big level, right? So if bulls can't step in and the earnings are bearish, you're definitely looking at that 300 area. And my next target is that 242 area, which has been the lows here back on May 2019. So it's been a long time, right? You're talking about a $1,700 stock that can't even hold support at $400, potentially dropping us down to $300 and $242 on an earnings bomb. So I am looking at that. Now, analysts have remained bullish this whole time, and we do have a low of $800 through analyst stifle, which that could definitely change after earnings. Much like the names out there, they have cut these price targets almost in half, right? So stifle does have a $800 price target, but with the ongoing supply chain issues, we could definitely see that cut in half as well. And I am looking for a bearish target of 300 and 242. So definitely keep your eyes on Shopify at that $400 line as they do report earnings on Thursday. All right. One last name that is significant to me, and that is DoorDash, DASH. And, Dash is one of our names that we do trade at Wealthy Mentor Trading. It is one of our growth stocks. And unfortunately, it hasn't been growing much, right? So we had a rejection here at the highs at 257, and we broke key support at 130. And we have been unable to get over 110 as we've had multiple rejections here, and we are approaching lows at that $74 area, which is quite bearish, right? Now, to me, I am looking again for a continued move lower, and we are pretty much in price discovery at that point, right? So a break under $74, we could potentially drop down to the $60 area, which is significant to me because these weekly candles have represented a move anywhere from 15 to 20%, and that would lead us exactly down to the $60 area, which is one, coinciding with a 15 to 20% move. Two, it is a psychological support area. And three, we are in a downtrend along with market weakness. So, when we do have market weakness, unfortunately, almost every single name comes down due to that. Now, if there is a positive note, DoorDash has partnered with Superette. It's they're trying to launch cannabis pickups in Toronto, Canada. So they're trying to expand their horizons, I guess you could say, and essentially give the stock itself a little more life. I don't know if that's going to really do much, but that is a bullish case. They are trying to get into the cannabis sector and trying to, do the delivery stuff. So to me, I am looking for a bearish push down, and that area of $60 coincides perfectly with a 20% decline, just like what we've had here on these candle pushbacks, right? So 20% is an area where I could see Dash bombing on earnings and landing at that $60 area. Now, to the upside, we do have some analysts at that $100 area where they are, targeting. So again, we could potentially see a pop all the way to 100, 110. Again, we've had multiple rejections there. And to me, it's just going to pop up to there at best case scenario before coming right back down to test $74 again. And again, $60 is that area that I'm targeting. So guys, Dash is bearish along with Shopify, huge pullback, 62% year to date. And we're looking at Moderna, again, 60% year to date pullback, and AMD, 45% year to date pullback. Guys, so, the trend is your friend. Definitely look at these names to see if, we're going to be pushing back down. The market's bearish, and we're looking at a $4,000 SPX. And, be careful with these names. A lot of times you might say buy the dip, and they are oversold on the heavy time and the major time frames, but that does not necessarily mean that you should be popping in and buying the dip, right? Unless you see some sort of trend change, then you should stay away. And if you're looking at Dash, for example, to me, the trend change would happen above that $130 area, and we are far away from that. So again, I am looking for an earnings bomb on Dash and the other 4 names that I mentioned. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button and click the notification button to get our next video, which we do post every Sunday. All right, guys, thank you so much, and good luck trading.